Hey everybody. Today I've got the Knight of Cups as the obstacle and the Chariot as the opportunity. So let's get started. Knight of Cups. I find it very interesting that the Cavalier de Coupe, the Marseille version, is facing towards the left, and Waite changed it to face towards the right. Um, I think it's pretty common to see movement to the left as being symbolic of going going backwards in time, and movement to the right as following time's arrow to the future. And uh, I'm gonna go with the Marseille version here. Um, I think that knights are these are people, they're out there on their own, kind of like the pages. But whereas the pages are out there on their own in the world, I see the knights as being out there on their own in their mind. So this is a person who is this is a an archetypal state of an individual, I think, that is seeking out this this perfect time, this memory they have of this, this nostalgic ideal time. Everything was great. It could be their childhood. It could be, their teenage years. It could be a period of time they were in a particular relationship. It could it could even theoretically be a time when, in actuality, things were pretty bad and they weren't feeling very well. But upon reflecting back on that time, for whatever reason, they see that period of time as just being so perfect. And this is an individual who is, taking active steps to get back there. They might be operating under the belief that they could regain that feeling. And one of the obstacles here is in recognizing that the it's the nostalgic feeling of that past that they're trying to regain, that only exists in the present. It's essentially impossible to ever really go back and regain those feelings and those experiences. And the job of the knight, you could say, is to push forward, to, they're they got a fight ahead of them. And it's, they get sent out to do the hard work, the dirty work. um, they're the ones that have to confront the final the final stages of each suit. And they're the last archetypal character, essentially, that deals with each of the the four themes of the four suits. So the the Knight of Cups archetype, the ideal one, is, you know marching forward, um, and even in the sense of, even in the, I still like the Marseille sense of, going back, looking for this purity, um, is is still moving forward in time, is still going ahead with the kind of transformation that needs to occur. I think one of the big differences, um, that I certainly haven't heard anyone really pointing out, between the Marseille and the Rider, or the Waite Smith deck, is the Knight of Cups on the right. The cup that the knight is holding, it looks like, all the other cups. Um, they're they're all very similar throughout the suit. Now, the cups in the Marseille, have they have some differences between the cups that are depicted in the numerical series and those depicted in the court cards. I think that there's something about this cup and how ornate it is that points to where this suit is going. You know, the suit is transforming. It's going to be transforming into the suit of pentacles, of coins, of money, of actual, tangible value, things of metals and fruits of the earth, the human body. And I think that whereas the Queen of Cups is also aware of this kind of more profound, maybe more accurate interpretation of cups. It's the knight that is actually pursuing it. He's pursuing the value in this, but in this case, we're looking at it as the sort of unfulfilled. It's a knight not fulfilling his role, and is an obstacle. There are these perfect states that all of the knights are tempted to go back to. The Knight of Wands and the Knight of Swords, in some sense, have an incentive for action and for change, as opposed to for stability, right? But yeah, nonetheless, this is someone who is in life. This could represent an individual who is shirking their duties. They're in a position where they need to start concerning themselves with work and money and real things, and they're still kind of too busy indulging their emotions and their feelings. They're not even letting them. They're not even indulging the actual feelings of the day. They're stuck in the past. They're living in the past. It's keeping them from focusing their attention on minding their money and their physical matters. So yeah, this is kind of like don't get stuck in the past. I think for this one, for the short, I wrote, sometimes the journey to get your feelings in order is long and lonely, and it could wear a person down, make them give up on their quest, and send them running back to a nostalgic past. A past that appears perfect but only exists in the mind and is unattainable. Yeah, so this is like there's a reality, there's a tangible reality around you with real physical demands. You're indulging the sort of emotional demands too much. You or someone else. It just helps to also be able to recognize someone you might be dealing with that is in that state. And then for the opportunity, we got the Chariot. For the short, I wrote, finding balance between opposing drives is accomplished here by the adoption of a singular goal and of raising that goal to a grand decorated state, possibly a virtue. And one of the things that I find interesting about this card is, looking for the things that are looking for the dualities that are opposing, and then looking for the symmetry. And I think that the armor with the sort of theatrical style sad face and happy face, demonstrates an individual who has experienced the ups and downs. They have dressed accordingly. They have prepared themselves accordingly for both the ups and downs. The two horses in the Marseille, people often see them as like a masculine and a feminine horse. I think that's made more explicit in the and the Waite version, particularly with the inversion of colors. But yeah, one of the things that I find interesting about this is the use of one of the consistencies, right? Is the use of this banner, this decorative, uh, this dressing to the chariot, and it's got all these stars on it. I think it's something that symbolizes some some grand celestial idea, that is, it's like the way that the way that a crown, let's say, symbolizes some sort of, power or authority, and is, you know, an individual is crowned with it. I think this banner exists even higher, even on top of that, right? Um, this individual is defined by this kind of celestial. It's almost like similar to what I imagine the role that a flag would play. And I mentioned virtues because it's blue. I think being evocative of the suit of cups and feelings, emotions, and the the deepest, most significant emotions, the most driving passions, I guess. I think often throughout history are they're respected and celebrated as virtues, right? So it's like the most courageous, the most self-sacrificing, the most brilliant, the most devoted. These are always experienced, with a profound emotional state, and they usually also elicit a profound emotional response. So I kind of see this as um, I I see this symbolizing an opportunity in the sense of uniting uniting opposing drives, you know, under this single banner, under the single flag of some sort of a goal, um, unifying all the, like with the Marseille card, got these two horses. They're, kind of looks like they're kind of going in opposite directions. Um, and as animals, I think they kind of symbolize the the animal the animal drive, and not just the single animal subconscious kind of id based drive, but multiple ones, and ones that are working in opposition to each other. I think that often without an overarching singular goal, singular vision, it's pretty easy to just get caught up in the struggle of these, you know, constantly sort of flip flopping between being motivated to do one thing and then being motivated to do the other thing. Um, but yeah, I think as long as you could operate underneath this singular banner, have this kind of decorum that sets a theme, sets a goal. I think that's one of the opportunities here. One of the other things that I uh, I kind of I don't see it as a very common interpretation, but I think that both with the Marseille Chariot and the Waite Chariot, it seems to me like the chariots are stationary, like they're very fixed, you know. In the Waite card on the right, the the body of the chariot, I guess, uh, is the same color as the city in the background. The the chariot on the left, the Marseille chariot, it it looks like it descends straight down to the ground. Um, yeah, it doesn't look like the wheels are exactly, lifting it up above the ground. Like it doesn't look like it's rolling. And an interpretation of this, it kind of, I'm kind of reminded of how, fashion, when fashion changes constantly, fashion themes, I guess, styles come back into fashion over and over. They go in and out of style. And that phenomenon and this card both reminded me of, what could happen when you're really dedicated to something. Like, let's say you just always dress the same way. You don't chase the fashion, you don't try and keep up with it. You just stick to your guns, you have your style. If that's the case, as the world changes around you, if you could keep things sort of locked down, you do, in contrast to the flip flopping and changing and volatility of the world, you do often end up advancing, because a lot of the changes in the world that happen go backwards. Sometimes they go forwards. There's advancements. There's decay, and yeah, I think this card sort of symbolizes how, in a way, immobility is the way that you advance. Generally the chariot is interpreted as this thing that is like charging ahead, it's moving forward. And I don't disagree with that interpretation. I think it's certainly one of the intended interpretations. But yeah, I also like to imagine the possibility of it symbolizing how much you can charge forward, how much you can advance just by actually standing perfectly still. If the world around you moves backwards or disperses itself or decays, then just standing still is the thing that gets you ahead. Um, and standing still could be, sticking to your guns can be really difficult when you are being tugged, you know, in opposing directions by your feelings, by fears, by drives, whatever. Maybe another good analogy would be like in the in the stock market and investment. There's there's a huge body of investors that, you know, when there is confidence in the market about a particular stock, they just get super inspired. They can't resist. They just buy into it. When there is fear of something, they panic sell, right? And as they flip flop between this, it's like they just keep losing money. They're always a step behind, you know, making multiple trades, spending money on the trades themselves. And then meanwhile, you got the one person who just sticks with their investment. And by not doing anything, they actually end up far, far ahead of all the people who are constantly moving around and, flip flopping back and forth. So, yeah, I think that might illustrate one way of looking at this as an opportunity. But also, nonetheless, having some sort of singular goal or theme, a virtue, possibly a virtue, or possibly even just like a feeling that you focus on, um, that that gives you the ability to rein in those opposing forces, those opposing drives. That's going to be it for today for me. Thanks for watching. Drop me a like if you enjoyed the video, and comment hashtag tarot reading if you would like to be entered for a draw for a free one-on-one tarot reading. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.